Okay. This is really cool. This is really exciting. I think so. We're in the Q&A for, success through self-vaporization. Questions or thoughts?
What's the biggest challenge to people going through success, the white paper success through vaporization? What's their biggest challenge in overcoming it?
In being able to self-vaporize?
Mm-hmm.
They think they're hard on themselves. In my experience, they're not. People are soft. I mean, they're just soft. Really.
So how do you overcome that?
Give them a choice, either vaporize yourself or I'll vaporize you. I mean, just do it yourself or I'll do it. And I know leverage because I've been through leverage, and so I can bring on the heat like crazy. So do it yourself because I don't want to babysit you. I want to have fun with my grandkids. But have fun, you got to have discipline. They've got to be disciplined. And so why do I expect more out of my grandkids than I do out of grown adults? And so grown adults...
on a different level.
Well, the thing is, I expect less out of adults than I do my grandkids. Far less. My grandkids, I expect far, far more. So that white...
Yeah, because,
Go ahead.
I would say, because, Tuesday you were talking about how they're just they understand quantum thinking better than adults do.
Right, and so, it was funny when I had 22 employees and my kids were, 5, 6 up to, 15, 20, 15, 18. And I'd literally bring my kids in and have them do work, like a 9-year-old doing work that a 30-year-old couldn't do. It's like, you know what, you can't do it, fine, I'll bring my kids in to do it. Man, did the employees hate that. Just hated it. Success through the vaporization or white paper was from 3 years ago when, I set out for the year of not vaporizing people. And I'm like, this is killing me, just killing me, because I can't get anything done. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to write a white paper so the white paper can vaporize them rather than me. And this is where, the sacrificial lamb principle comes in. Questions?
How's the white paper work for you?
Unbelievable. I mean, nobody does any reading anymore, but so nobody reads it. But at least I have, it's an outlet, it's my therapy. And so there's something there. So I think what I'm going to do is, if the grandkids stay longer, I think I'm going to write a German fairy tale for each of these 6 and read it to them.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Yep.
So I got a question.
Yep.
Self-vaporization, you said, if you don't do it, I'm going to do it for you. How does the amiable do it? Because the amiable hates conflict, so how are they going to vaporize somebody and teach them how to self-vaporize?
In 10X, they go ahead and communicate in a way I've never heard communicated. At least it resonated with me. I'm like, oh my gracious, that is so true. So true. And so, you either have conflict now or you have conflict later. You get to make the choice if you're going to do it now or do it later.
Okay.
If you do it later, it's going to be more conflict. So the amiable creates so much conflict around them because they ignore the short-term conflict. And so what they do is they put their head in the sand and they don't go ahead and address stuff fast.
I agree, yes.
So
Okay.
they know the driver will often do the vaporization, but the driver will often go ahead and have no emotional bank account. So with Tanglewood, Steve is probably the most vulnerable that I'm aware of anybody in Tanglewood. Steve's the most vulnerable of everybody.
Yes.
Because he's the most direct. He's just going to tell it like it is. And people don't like that. Now, they may fall in love with that. You know, they may fall in love with that because he's going to help them. Like, it's your toughest teacher in school. You don't like him, but boy, do you learn a lot. So do you want to like the teacher, or do you want to learn a lot? And that's why EC2 is so powerful. Because EC2 can go ahead and do the heavy lifting. EC2 can be the President Clinton principle. EC2, go take a look at this and what do you think? If they come back and they say, what, you thought it was me? It's like, don't be a DBLB. Like, really? What's a DBLB? Well, I can't tell you. You got to read 10X chapter 5 or listen to it. So it becomes a code, a culture. It's like, you know what, take ownership of your stuff. Beth, questions, thoughts you have?
No. I'm good.
So, what can this group do to help you, Beth, and your team?
What's Beth's personality?
I don't have it right in front of me. I apologize.
I'm a starter and I don't finish things. I let people walk all over me. I don't finish my own things, but I finish things for other people because I let them off the hook. What else?
Driver, amiable, analytic thrown in there some. Amiable driver.
Person.
Inner quadrant chameleon.
Yeah, she's a 7360 or 7364 mark overall.
7364. Yep. So driver.
Analytic is driver amiable.
Driver amiable. Doesn't look like there's a lot of analytic, but if you're in the printing business and you're raised, in that business, you have a lot of analytic. So it's not natural, but it's there. Other questions, or what can we do to help Beth?
Well, it sounds like what we're...
Kick me every day.
What's that?
I said if you were right here, you could kick me every day.
No, I'm going after Lisa. Lisa's fun. Like, I've got a daughter just like her. Is she with us today?
No. We have our holiday party. So
Gotcha. So she went ahead and she said, game on to me.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, it's just such a sweet little girl. Like, and I said, as soon as she said, I'm like, oh my gracious, I love her. She's just like my daughter. Big talker. I said, you like to compete against men, don't you? She said she did. I mean, she can't even get off the starting line. It's so funny. It's so cute. But that's what double expressives are. They're big talkers. They're charmers. But, they compete against a driver analytic. They just always lose. They can't. She has no stamina. She takes a step, and then she's got all of this drama. It's like one day, I'm serious. Like, it's just cute. And so they hate to be mocked. Like, I'd love for her to listen to this. They hate to be mocked, and especially women competing against men. It's like, sweetheart, honey, like, yeah, babe, you can't, like, you just can't. Like, I just talked to her like one of my little girls, or my 2.5-year-old. Like, my 2.5-year-old granddaughters, they compete better with me than she does. And so, like, if she would ever get like my grandson who's 7, he's just the same personality. Man, that kid's high-strung. Wow. So I'm like, so she's one of the motivations that I have to, man, I got to get him young, you know, because boy, if he doesn't get young, man, he's gonna create, man, he's gonna be a handful for some young woman when he gets married. And man, I don't want her to say, come back to me and say, what were you thinking? Like, how come you didn't help here? I'm like, I tried. I don't know. So Nicole, you might be able to help, or Cheryl might be able to help. You're both part of EC2. So one of the two of you may be able to help her. Because obviously I don't know anything because I'm not a woman. I mean...
Well, Beth...
Go ahead.
Beth, what's your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge is I say yes to too many things, and I have so much stuff going on, and I have so many things that are started and not finished that I feel crippled by just walking into my office. It's like, oh my goodness, what am I going to pick up first? And I'm so overwhelmed. I am completely overwhelmed, and I go home and I'm overwhelmed at home, and I'm overwhelmed everywhere right now. That I am completely overwhelmed.
So there's a white paper that says, you know, I'm overwhelmed.
Is there?
Uh-huh.
I'll have to find that.
And then
I am overwhelmed.
Yeah, and then when you read it, you know, that was probably from 6-7 years ago. When you read it, it's not going to work. So what I need you to do is read it and then email me as you're reading and say, Mark, this isn't working. And I'm going to say, okay, what did you learn from it? And you're going to tell me what you learned because you're really good at that. And then I'm going to create we'll create a Q&A on it. But it's like, it's like my, daughter, Ginger Ann with 4, she got 3 businesses. She got 4 kids, 7, 5, and she's been here for a week and a half. The poor girl's just exhausted. She reminds me of you, and she has a hard time saying no. So we now have a rule. Like I got up at 3:30 this morning, pounded into it, and then little 5-year-old got up. He wanted to cuddle with Mom. It's 3:30 in the morning, buddy. You're not cuddling with Mom. I did get Dad up, and Dad and I went ahead and worked with him. And then we've made a new rule that the rest of the time they're with us, you know what? They get up in the middle of the night. Grandpa's getting up with them. Not Grandma, not Mom, because Grandma and Mom, man, they're way too nice. No wonder they get up. It's like, they hug them and cuddle them. Like Grandpa, they'll have fun with Grandpa during the day. Grandpa's going to be, but man, they wake Grandpa up. Yeah, no, get to bed. Sleep.
Yeah.
The 5-year-old, bless his heart, he's like, I want to cuddle. No! I hug you. I hug you, you go to bed. I can't go to bed, Grandpa. I can't sleep. You can sleep. Lay down. And then I went ahead and he's sleeping in the basement in a room down there with his brother. I said, you have 2 choices. You can go ahead and sleep in the room, in the basement with your brother because he loves people, wants to be around. Or if you want, you can sleep in the living room with nobody around. And he's like, I want to sleep in the basement. Good. Go down there. You whine one time, you're going in the living room. And he whined one time. Fine, you're in the living room. Goes in the room. Bunch of drama. Like so much drama. Voice, upset. You don't yell with Grandpa. Keep your mouth down. And he's like, well, Grandpa, I can't sleep. I said, trust me. You can sleep. Lay down. Then at breakfast, Sorry, go ahead.
My house is in limestone, too.
Yeah. And then you just need to take that to your office there, Beth.
Yeah, I know.
And so I get up this morning, or he's at breakfast this morning. I walk down, and he was so cute. How do I get adults to do this? I look at him. He looks at me, and he smiles. I said, you went to sleep, didn't you, buddy? He said, I did, Grandpa. You were right. Trevor was wrong. He's 5 years old. He says, Trevor was wrong, Grandpa. You were right. I did sleep. And so it's just like this. I think a lot of times parents, like, they make things complex. It's simple. You know, it's simple. This is not brain surgery. It's not rocket science. But I think leaders
you don't get that till you're a grandparent, though.
No, I got it.
Just say it, but where?
No, I got it when I was. I think. You know, I got it when I had kids. My wife, she struggled with it. So, honey, you're the parent, they're the kid. I know, but there's 7 of them. It doesn't matter. You could have 50 of them. Like, you know what you're doing. You don't want to overmanage them. You don't want to micromanage them as long as they're making good choices. I mean, my dad said to me when I was 16 and my older brother was 17, we were out on the, basketball court in the front of our house, and my dad said, hey, boys, you guys are, becoming men. So he looked at both of us, he said, I'm going to give you guys, more reign. You can make more choices in your life now. We looked at each other. It's like, this is so awesome. He walks away, turns around and says, oh, one little note. As long as you make good choices, I'll continue to give you that opportunity. You don't, I won't. We're like, what? That's not any fun, Dad. So, he was raised in Wisconsin, on a farm, definitely old school. And, he transferred that into his kids. And so with 7 kids, it's really simple. This is what you do. I mean, it's all reflex. And so employees, you got to get that kind of, like, as you grow older, as you grow mature, as you're able to be better employees, then I micromanage you less. I don't want to micromanage. That costs time and money and energy. And I make it very unpleasant. I know this comes as a huge shock to all of you. I make it very unpleasant to be micromanaged by me. Like, I don't want my grandkids making poor choices and then have it be enjoyable to hang out with Grandpa. And so if you're micromanaging, now again, with a new employee, but you got to grow them up to where they're productive employees. So hopefully this has, been helpful to everybody. If you have any questions, again, connect with your ARRT mentor. And then where we really learn the most is from our 2 ARRT buddies. Like, I learned a lot from my mom and dad, very thankful for both of them. But I learned far more from my 7 kids, and I think I'm learning even more from my grandkids, and they're a lot more fun, too. Always remember we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. God bless. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.